Hello everyone. So my name is Dr. Courtney Beatty. Yes, I am putting on lotion while I'm doing this because I'm just getting started. I'm just jumping in. For many of y'all, you don't know who I am. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm licensed in Florida, Georgia, and New York. And recently I created a 88 item questionnaire to discern dating compatibility and also readiness for marriage based on compatibility as well. I created this after providing 11 years of direct therapy services and just kind of hearing the same questions come up over and over. Of course, myself as a therapist, I am not exempt from the human experience. I am not exempt from the ghetto-ness of the dating world because I am single myself. So if my husband sees this, contact me. But anyways, yes, so I created this questionnaire. It covers every question you can think of to thoroughly decide relationship compatibility. And again, it's well thought out. It covers multiple areas. And so what I decided to do is as a leader, I'm going to go first. I am going to answer all 88 questions on the internet. I'm thinking off the top of my head with all of this as far as the questions and how I'm going to answer them. So this is going to be a series, right? Because there's going to be 88 questions. By the grace of God, I can get through all 88 in this one sitting. If you see my clothes change, that's because I got tired, or either I had sessions later on this afternoon because I do work today. So here we go, y'all. So let me pull up my file. I'm really about to put y'all all in my business now, but it's okay. It's okay because again, whatever it takes for you to get a good insight of how you will be spending your money if you decide to buy this questionnaire yourself. Okay. Hold on just one second. I need to get my water because I'm going to be talking a lot. So give me a second. Okay. We have to stay hydrated, girl. Shout out to God, cross back there, and shout out to Bad Bunny because, you know, if you know me, you know. Anyways, no longer prolonging or delaying the time. I'm going to get into the questionnaire now. All right. So, sorry, it's taking a second. All right. So I just want to quickly read to you the questionnaires, purpose and intent, and then the instructions for use, just so that everybody's on the same page. This is not, let me get close. This is not a replacement for couples therapy or premarital counseling, okay? It's a good start to start having these conversations with your partner, with your potential dating partner. It's okay to do that. But if you're about to get married, take this with you to premarital counseling. Like, don't just do it on your own, because you can have somebody to help you to have a deeper conversation, right? Okay, so the first section is relationship expectations. So the first question is, what do you expect from marriage? Obviously, I'm speaking from my own personal requirements or expectations for marriage. When I think about marriage, I think about having a life partner. I will have someone who I can rely on, someone who is a safe space for me, someone who is someone who enriches and enhances what I already have going on. So they will meet me where I am in my life. So that includes my prioritizing my relationship with God, my physical health. I love exercise. I love weight training. I love yoga, meditation. I love cooking. I love traveling. I love music. I love a good show, good movie sometimes. Yeah, so my partner will essentially be a mirror of me. He will be a leader, so he will be a more highly evolved version of myself for the most part. Now, I do recognize there may be some areas that he's not as developed as I am, because I don't expect to marry another therapist or whatever. So, but it will be nice if you have done a lot of personal development, introspective work, etc., etc. So, going back to the question, because I don't want to get too far off, what do I expect from marriage? I expect to have a equally yoked partner. I expect to have someone who is kind. I expect to have someone who does not mind having the hard conversations, someone who is hardworking, someone who is attractive. I expect to be physically attracted to my partner, my husband. I don't know why I'm saying partner, husband. That's what I mean. What I expect out of marriage is to have a leader, a provider over my home, over myself. But at the same time, he is someone who considers my wisdom, my experience, and the fact that I can think for myself. That sometimes I have really good ideas, and he will be open to hearing my perspective. But he ultimately will be the decision maker in our home. I expect to have a best friend. I expect him to be emotionally available and intelligent. Someone who, the longer that he has gotten to know me, that he can anticipate my needs, he can anticipate my wants. He definitely must be a man of God. That's is non-negotiable, because God is the cornerstone of my life. He's the essence of how I live my life. It's the foundation, the principles from which I live from. My expectations of marriage, I expect to have a family, so him being very family oriented. I expect to have a business partner, because I am an entrepreneur. I am a creative. I expect to have fun. I expect to laugh. I expect to feel like a woman often. So I'm big on physical touch. There's some others, but I think I'll save that for my actual husband. I hope I'm not missing something like critically important, but y'all get the point, right? Okay. Question number 2. How do I handle conflict? Okay, so I like to have a conversation directly about the issue at hand. If it is a very emotionally charged conversation, I preferably like to take some time to think about it. I want to journal, like, on my own. Like, the first time that you hear about this issue, I don't want my husband to be hearing it while I'm like surging with emotion, because dumping that on him, or the conversation is not necessary for him to understand me. So I want some time to kind of process it and think about it. Then we just directly have that conversation face to face. I'm not shy of asking the hard questions, and my husband, whoever you are, don't be shy to ask me the hard questions either. I have grown and evolved a lot. I don't like to feel embarrassed. But because I am a more evolved woman, I have gotten to the point where if you are talking to a person who is emotionally safe, meaning that they're non-judgmental, meaning that they are a human themselves and can say, hey, like, we've all been there, or I've made mistakes before, I don't paint this as the whole picture of who you are, then it's okay. You can't have vulnerable conversations with immature people, or people who are coming into the conversation off of ego and wanting to win in the conversation, or wanting to put you down. So Anyways, I kind of went on the side card with that. But how I handle conflict, I want to process it by myself for a little while. So if I'm upset, you know, you can acknowledge that I'm upset and say, like, you know, are you okay? Like, it seems like you're quiet or something. And I may just say, yeah, you know, I'm in my head. I'm going to go for a walk. You know, I'm journaling or whatever case is. And take a shower. I usually pray. Like, that's another prayer closet that I often use. I'm usually praying in there, singing my gospel, and journaling in the shower. So give me some time to process me being upset with you so that I don't release all the fury on you. And then we can talk. Let's have a conversation. I would prefer handling conflict face to face. Eye contact. Eye contact is very important. Sometimes it's hard to do that. But I feel like when you're always making eye contact with somebody when you're talking, it lets them know that you're dialed in, and like you're not hiding and they're not hiding. You know, sometimes when people look away from your eyes or the camera or whatever, it makes people feel like you're not listening, or that you're bored with what they're saying, or you're disinterested or something. So try to maintain eye contact. Anyways, something funny just came to my mind, but I remember having a conflict conversation with a friend. And he's a very intense person. He's a Leo, you know. So anyways, I'm not really big into horoscopes, but I'm just saying, you know how Leos are, if you get what I'm saying. And so I'm a Capricorn, and we were having this intense conversation, and I just felt like we were having a staring contest. I felt like we were having a staring contest because his eye contact was so intense, and I was hanging in there right there with him. So anyways, it's funny, if he sees this video, he might know I'm talking about him, but we had a time because dominant personalities in the same dynamic is it's funny to me. But anyways, okay, we're gonna move on to question number 3. Oh, I'm gonna take a sip first. Excuse me, y'all. I don't know what's going on. I feel like there's some sinus drainage going on. At this rate, it's gonna take me forever to get through all these questions, but that's okay. Number 3, what role do you expect each of us to play in a relationship? My husband is the primary provider in the household. He doesn't cover all the bills and all the expenses, but he certainly covers our home. So I don't want nothing to do with mortgage. I don't want anything to do with rent. I'm still gonna be working, but preferably most of our bills will be covered by him, and the money that I make will be going to savings and investing, because that's really what I want to do with my money. And then I can kind of also have some little extra, like allowance, you know, to just kind of, you know, dilly-dally around with. My husband is also very emotionally intelligent, and he has emotional capacity to sit with my emotions, not to take them personally. He understands women, and he's empathic and compassionate to that. He can anticipate what will put a smile on my face, what will boost my mood. As far as with him, I am his biggest cheerleader. If he says he wants to sell lemonade, I'm going to be in the back squeezing lemons. One of my biggest love languages, or how I like to show love, is I love to cook and just like baby my man, I guess I would say. And so yes, that is something that I expect from myself, is to just love him well. When a woman is in love, the pureness of her love is like, it just goes to no end. I've been there before. So what role do I expect each of us to play? Both of us are very active parents. Both of us are very active in keeping the house clean and tidy and well maintained. I've been single for so long, I don't really, I'm not firm in gender roles or whatever. Now, don't get me wrong, like, it'll do something for me if you take the trash out, but it's not necessary. If you're doing something else, then I will take the trash out. It's not that big of a deal. But both of us equally take care of our home because we need to steward well the blessings that God has afforded us. So I expect that there's an equal share in that. What role do I expect each of us to play in the relationship? My role is to be my husband's co-pilot, his source of support, to be a warm, open, non-judgmental space for him. It is my prayer that my husband will know that like, your feelings matter. And if you feel exhausted or overwhelmed or tired, chasing your dreams and making it happen for our family, like, I want to hear about that. Don't just feel like you got to just keep going, and you're just an ATM for us. I want my husband to be just as rested as I am. What role do I expect each of us to play in a relationship? I think that's about it for right now. I mean, I'm sure there's probably more, but again, this is just giving y'all an example of kind of what the questions are and how they'll go. Question number 4. How do you define loyalty and commitment? All right, big one. This comes up in therapy a lot. Loyalty means I am committed to the team that I chose, and I don't do anything to harm that team or betray it. So nothing that could hurt me or the relationship. You defend our team with honor. You do not allow other people to do anything to harm us or threaten us. You certainly don't engage in, somebody else trying to break up what we have or whatever. Commitment is not based on feeling. Commitment is a decision. It's essentially saying, I'm picking a side, I'm choosing you, and I'm going to stick with it whether I feel like it or not. Yeah, commitment, discipline, those things wrapped up together, they're not rooted in feeling. They're rooted in a decision. And you're a man of your word, you're a woman of your word, and that's what commitment means to me. Loyalty, is there anything else I can add with loyalty? Yeah, essentially you just don't do things, behind my back that make me feel like, well, damn, whose side are you on, Anyways, moving on. Number 5. What are my non-negotiables in a long-term relationship? If you don't have a relationship with God and you don't have God as your leader, I am terrified. I'm literally terrified of people who don't answer to anybody. And when I say anybody, you can be an entrepreneur, you can be a businessman, you can be a boss, a leader, whatever. But if you don't have a higher power, and I don't mean let me speak for me and my house. We serve Jesus over here. We serve Jesus. No shade to anybody else's God, but we serve Jesus over here. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. I have these little cue cards on my desk. Anyways, that's a non-negotiable, and there's some others, but again, y'all not my husband, so I'll save the rest of those. But yeah, non-negotiable is if you are not a follower of Jesus Christ. Another non-negotiable is if you are not okay with dogs in your home. Abundance, come here. Come here, honey. Hold on a second. She was taking a nap, so I don't woke her up. Come here, honey. This is my baby. Say hey yo. This is my baby, Abundance Love. She's mama's girl. This is my first child. I don't have any human kids yet. If you don't like dogs, if you don't like dogs in your bed, it's a deal breaker. I'm not willing to talk about it. It's okay. She and the Lord have been all that I have, like side by side every single day for the last almost 3 years. Like, it's a non-negotiable. We're not talking about it. If you don't like it, it's okay. I'm not here to convince anybody to be compatible. We're checking for compatibility. Okay? All right. So we're going to pause, I think, here for today. Actually, you know what? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let me take a sip of water. I'm sorry. I know that's like kind of nasty, but I don't know why I have sinus drainage right now because I'm not sick. Next section is communication. Okay, how do I prefer to communicate about difficult topics? Face to face, in a mature, peaceable manner. I do understand when topics can evoke emotion. Sometimes people talk with passion. If I feel like you are hollering at me, or if I'm hollering at you, we need to be able to check each other. You know, let's be mature. Let's keep it loving. You know, we can keep it real, but let's keep it loving. We don't need to be ugly towards each other. How do you express love and affection? Huge on physical touch. Acts of service. So cooking, I love to do that. Massages and stuff like that. I'm a big advocate, cheerleader, brainstorm partner, business partner. Finding interest in the things that you love and supporting that. So that's how I show love and affection. I love to kiss. I'm putting y'all in my business, but I do. So yeah, I'm lots of kisses. Are there any, this is question 8, are there any communication habits that bother me? Yes. If I'm talking, don't be on your phone. Don't be touching your phone. That's rude. Do not curse at me. Do not raise your voice. Again, I understand, because that's something I'm still working on. When you're passionate, you know, about your conversation, your voice can raise a little bit. But like, if I feel like you're yelling at me, we're done. Communication habits that bother me. Cutting me off while I'm talking. You know, let me finish what I'm going to say. And then you can respond. I guess like condescending tones, making assumptions, just being mean, just being unkind, being rude, being an asshole. I'm just say it. If you are acting as if whatever I'm saying is not bringing any value or whatever, you're not being willing to learn or being teachable or whatever, it's okay. We can wrap it up, because that'll piss me off real quick. Number 9, what is my primary love language? It's a tie between physical touch and acts of service. I do love gifts though, don't get me wrong. I mean, I feel like everybody loves all the love languages, but I would just say acts of service and physical touch are, you know, right there. Yeah. Number 10, what expressions of love help me feel most seen and valued? Just let me see how I want to say this. A man that has studied me, and he knows me so well that he can anticipate my wants and my needs without me saying it. I feel like that makes me feel so loved more than most things. A very close second runner up is physical touch. So hugs from behind. Hugs in the front are good too. Lots of kisses, holding hands, cuddles, being grown. I'm trying to keep it PG. It might be some teenagers watching this. I don't know, kids or something. My nieces might be watching this. TT, what are you talking about? Calm down. Yeah, I think that's what makes me feel especially loved. Just him thinking about me, you know, being considerate of what would make me happy or what could make my responsibility, my load, my day lighter. Buying me flowers. I love flowers. Buy me a plant. I love plants. Don't buy me something that's hard to take care of though. Trusting my vision for like a business plan, dream, goal, aspiration that I have. Providing information to me. That's a big one. Teaching me and cheering me on along the process. That makes me feel especially loved. Are there expressions of love that feel less impactful for you? Expressions of love, I mean, no. I mean, I appreciate all forms of love, I believe. I mean, obviously if they're not the ones I just mentioned, they're probably not gonna have the same like effect, but I will still appreciate it. All right, we're moving down to financial matters. It's one of my favorite topics. Finances typically make people cringe. It's just a psychologically abrasive topic, especially if you have not been honest with yourself about your financial habits, your financial condition, your financial goals, blah, blah, blah. But it's very important, and it's one of the main reasons why couples divorce. And so this conversation needs to happen, and you need to be transparent. I recently learned that there's a term called financial infidelity. So if you are hiding financial behaviors or histories or whatever, plans away from your spouse, you're committing financial infidelity. Again, we're not here to be judgmental, but we're educating at the same time. So question is, how do I manage money and budgeting? So I have a budget spreadsheet. Shout out to Tremo. He is a comedian and actor and financial education guru, maybe. I bought this from him, this spreadsheet from him. So essentially, like maybe I could show it to y'all. Okay, I think I'm doing too much. But the point is, I'll put the link down below, so if you want to buy it. But it's a financial spreadsheet. Essentially, every single time you make a purchase, you enter that purchase into the spreadsheet. It's well thought out. It's very user friendly, and essentially it will show you your spending patterns, your spending habits, the areas where you spend the most money, and again, you can make some revisions from there. So that's how I manage my money. Every single time I get paid, I save and I invest a certain amount. I am also on my journey towards financial freedom as far as being debt free and improving my credit. So every single time that I get paid, there's an amount of money that gets allocated each week, not every single time I get paid. I don't want to lie. Each week there's money allocated to paying down debt. Dumb debt mistakes from my young years. I feel like everybody's been there, unfortunately. 13, what are my financial goals for the future? I have a dollar amount of liquid cash in investments that I want to have. in my name before my husband even comes into my life. I want to have very low debt. So probably under like $5,000, maybe $3,000. I don't know. I need to talk to somebody to ask what's a good number for that. I don't know. Very low, just enough to maintain a good credit score. Financial goals. I have a certain dollar amount of money that I want to make each week in passive income. Financial goals. Well, I think that's enough. I'm telling y'all too much at this point. Anyways, 14, how do I feel about debt, savings, and investments? I think I just answered that. Very little debt is possible. If you're using debt to make money, great. Debt for consumption and materialism, no. Debt to benefit your family, but paying it off quickly, that's fine. Savings, absolutely essential. You gotta have an emergency savings. You gotta have a sink fund for just like vacations and, you know, appliances breaking down and stuff like that. So having that, and then investments, stock market investments, got to do that. Shout out to Vanguard. If you have not opened up a brokerage account, highly recommend investing in VOO, S&P 500. Set it and forget it. I learned this maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Life changing. 15, how do I prefer to manage finances in a marriage? You know, that's a good question. My husband, whoever you are, he will also be implementing this daily budget sheet thing. So I'm okay with us putting the money together because there's a visible record of all the money coming in and all the money going out. I think that probably we will highlight the lines that belong to him, like his spending, and then highlight the lines in another color that belong to me, so we can like somehow, you know, decide like who's spending what, because that needs to be and we need to have financial meetings too. Weekly might be a bit annoying, but maybe like every 2 weeks. I think once a month is like bi-weekly. I think once a month might be too much time for a problem to happen. Y'all forgive me, Lord. I'm so thirsty. Anyways, how important is financial transparency? Absolutely has to happen. I mean, there is no secrets in this marriage. So put your ego to the side and let's be honest with each other. Let's be honest with ourselves. And I'll be honest with you. When I recently started seriously working on my credit, it was such a psychological process, because when you're young and you don't have a lot of human support, you're literally in survival mode. And so you're making a lot of decisions then because they're meeting the need then. But when you look back on it later, it was disappointing. It was disappointing. I cried, y'all. I did. But I got past it and I'm doing the things. And God gave me a couple of opportunities to practice financial transparency with some people that I really respect. You know? So, yeah. I'm doing the things. You can do it too. 17, are there aspects of your financial history that should be transparently shared? I'm not going to share my business to y'all, okay? I mean, I have 3 degrees. Okay, definitely got student loans. Okay. Have some credit card debt, etc. Again, those things are being worked on. There's more, obviously. If I'm talking to my husband, I'm more than happy to share everything with him. Career and life goals. Let's see what time it is. We're gonna go through career and life goals, and then that's gonna get us through question 20, and I'm going to end the video, and we'll come back and do part 2 in a second. What are my career aspirations? I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna skip that because I'm kind of a private person, but I mean, I'm kind of, when it comes to my career, it's very personal. It's between me and God and my husband, obviously, or whoever's like working on those goals with me. But right now, I mean, I'm going on my 5th year owning my own private practice as a licensed therapist. For the last year, I have been learning Spanish, and I'm getting into more of the tech industry with AI, and yeah, I think that's all I'll say right now. When I talk to my husband, I'll share more with him, whoever he is. Number 19, how do you balance work and personal life? I'm very big on work-life balance. It's a major reason why I became an entrepreneur. I literally have in my calendars blocks of time that says take care of yourself, because I refuse to be an empty vessel. I take my job, my career, my purpose very seriously. I'm constantly pouring into people, like lifting people up psychologically, emotionally, and it requires me to be well. And so work-life balance is important. I do work a good bit. I typically don't finish my work day until like 8 o'clock, sometimes a little later if I'm working on like creative things. But I make sure that I'm drinking my water. I make sure that I'm fed. I make sure that abundance is fed. Obviously, if you know, when I get married, I'll make sure my husband is fed and my kids are fed. But then I'm gonna go back still working, you know, because I like to finish what I start. It's important to take time off of work, vacation time, going outside, being in nature, going for walks, touching grass, sitting in grass, yoga, meditation. I work out 5 days a week. That's a major key for me for work-life balance. And spending time with God. Excuse me, Lord, I should have said that first. But lots and lots of time with God. I have a real serious relationship with God. When you think about being in a serious relationship with someone, that means you spend a lot of time with them. That means that y'all are very close, you're very connected. That's what I do with God, and that's a huge part of making sure that I have good work-life balance. My mental health is, you know, prioritized, etc. Number 20, where do I see myself living in the future? So I love the sun. I'm a Florida girl. I love the beach. I love the mountains. I love the city. But I also am a country girl because I grew up with my grandparents and stuff like that. You know, when I stayed with them in the summers, when my parents were working or whatever. So it can vary. I think I can be adaptable. You know, don't care for any snow. I'm not gonna lie. I lived in Kentucky for 2 years doing my master's degree, and I don't know, cause I don't want to lie, cause when you in love and child, hush, you're fine. You'll do anything. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. I'll be adaptable. You know, if he's an entrepreneur and we can live anywhere, and I'm gonna have more of an opinion if he needs to be in a particular area. I don't need to be in a particular area for my job. Not right now. I'll be flexible. All right, y'all. So that is 1 through 20. Relationship expectations section, communication, financial matters, career, and life goals. Ooh, we did it. Okay, that took 39 minutes. So we're gonna pause. little intercession, and we're gonna keep on going. Bye.